All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and I've been talking jQuery with you, at you. And I just finished going over the jQuery W3 Schools reference, which I broke up into about 4 or 5 different lessons. And now we're going to talk about the jQuery UI. The jQuery UI is built into jQuery, for lack of better words. As it says, it's a set of user interface interactions, effects, widgets, and themes built on top of the jQuery JavaScript library. So what does that mean? That means that anything that's in here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different interactions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, about 15 widgets, about 10 effects, and about 2 utilities. I'm going to attempt very quickly to go in and go over each one of these. Now, if you look here, if I go to Draggable, all right, notice how it says I can drag it around. And for each one of these, you can go up to the source. So you can grab all of the source, but the idea, the key thing here is these 2 lines. You have to add jQuery first, and after you add jQuery, you add the jQuery UI, and then it's simply typically just a line or 2 of code. So you'll see how easy this is. I can grab all of the code here. Whoops, come on. Grab all of the code, copy it into what I've been working on here. Well, let's thinking about it. I know I've done this before where I've copied code in and I've never had a problem with it. Of course I am now, but I never have in the past. Now, why is that? Well, there could be a lot of reasons. Probably it's here. HTTP:, you need those. Yep, that one I don't need. All right, so let's try to run that again. That was a little nicer. Drag me around. Now, that probably would have looked a lot nicer if I'd have come in here with a draggable. I made the width, etc. How about the background? I think I'd have to say color, but I'm not sure. Let's make it red. That didn't change the color, so let's see if we make that a dash if it comes back. All right, much easier to see. I could have either changed the background color of here or the background color of the div. But to me, dragging around something white on a white background is a little counterintuitive. You may or may not agree with that. All right. The droppable, you'll notice too when I refresh that as soon as I put it inside of here, then it says dropped. So again, if we look at the source, it looks for it, and once it finds it, it says dropped. But if we just go and grab this and put it here, notice it doesn't say dropped. All right. Resizable, kind of what you'd think. You can resize, you can make it wider, taller, you can make it wider, you can do both. But again, the real key to this is, as mentioned, adding the jQuery UI, and then it's typically just a line or 2 of code in a function. Selectable. Now, if it's multi-select, you can hold down on Control, okay? And you can see in here, all we've done is we said it's selectable. The other thing I can do too is, I believe, if I want to highlight all of them, I can draw that box around them. Okay. Sortable is just that. so I can move stuff around any way that I want to. Again, you see the power of this is then that once you've added your themes and once you've added the JavaScript and the jQuery UI, here it's 2 lines of code. Sortable and disable selection. All right, let's look at some widgets. The accordion is one that's used a lot because the accordion is typically used. For example, if this was a frequently asked questions page and you clicked, you could bring up whatever question was your current one. But again, same type of setup. You add your 2 files, and then that's all your jQuery. Hopefully what you're starting to see here is what I'd mentioned to you earlier. You know, they're the jQuery mantra of write less, do more. Autocomplete does just that. All right. And it's interesting. It says enhances standard forms like buttons, inputs, etc. to make them themable. All right. This is also often used in accordance with something like Bootstrap, which we'll talk about later. Checkboxes and radios, same kind of thing. All right, you can come in if you want to, and you can make them themable. In other words, you can give them a common look and feel. You can grab a bunch of stuff together and put it into a group. The date picker, notice when I do that, boom. All right. Dialogue, basic dialogue, which you can set up and you can remove. But again, I'm not going through all the code on these because it's typically just a single line. Menus, kind of nice. Be able to set up menus quickly, even multiple level menus. There's a 3-level menu. And what did we do to do that? Well, we have to set it up. We have to set up the menu, but the actual jQuery, that's it. I should say that's it. Call the menu function. Progress bars, probably have seen those before. Select menu for drop downs. Slider, again, pretty obvious. Spinners, you typically will have it. They don't have it here, but typically when you do that, you will set up a maximum and a minimum in here. Tabs. Tabs are nice because they give you another way by using multiple panels that if I've got a small area of real estate on the web page, I can break it up and let the user decide what she or he wants to show at any one time. And tooltips. Notice when I put my mouse over here, we ask your age only for statistical purposes. All right. Effects. We've already seen how to add classes. Now this is color animation. This is a little different than what we talked about before. So notice how the number was, or the color is changing. So I believe to do that we had to bring in the color library. Not sure where that is, but we talked about that a little earlier. Easing is another way when you work with this stuff. All right, to show how something, again, can fade in and fade out for different effects. This is a neat one. It shows all of the different effects that you can have. All right. Many of these you've already looked at. But there's some neat stuff that you can do. I mean, that explode I thought was kind of neat. And it's got a little more code in it. All right. Hide, different ways that you can hide things. Remove classes. The opposite of hide, again, being show. As you can see, all of this stuff is being done, for lack of better words, for effect. And I can't mention this to you too many times. You've heard me say it already. And that is, don't let the media destroy the message. In other words, if I've got a sporting goods store website that I've created, that's what should be being highlighted. It shouldn't be, well, look at this effect. I'm making the basketball look like it's dribbling. Where you don't want that to be what people end up remembering about your site. Notice you got a toggle here. And then finally, position and widget factory. So positions, notice how I'm changing it. All right. And lastly, the widget factory, which is a little confusing. As it says, create stateful jQuery plugins using the same abstraction as all jQuery widgets. Okay? All right. That will finish up the talk that I'm doing here. Oh, that's not good. There we go. That will finish up the talk that I'm doing here on the jQuery UI. When I come back, I'm going to do something a little different. I want to talk about the plugin registry, but there's not a lot of stuff on that. So rather than do that, I'm going to grab one, probably the best known jQuery plugin, and I'd like to talk to you about that one. So I'll be back with that shortly.